Welcome, listeners, to the third episode of our conversation with Colonel Sanjay Pande. If you would recall that the first episode majorly dealt with his early life and his life and career in army, and the second episode it was more about his retired life, the inspiration and thought behind starting an initiative for his troops, their families, Savita, which has now progress to Saksham, and we heard about it in detail. In these two episodes, what really came up for us as coaches and as listeners, and must have come for you also, a man who joined Officers Training Academy and knew nothing about leadership, and then decided to follow a 25 or 30-page booklet, made it his Bible, and then created an epic out of it through his life learnings, experiences, human interactions. And the beauty of it is that he's created his own brand of leadership, which is unparalleled, unmatched, and still, and he lives it like whatever he's developed, whatever he's followed, he walks the talk. I'm sure Coach Sunil, who's my co host today for the episode, and me would get great learnings along with our viewers and listeners on this particular topic. And this would be a very fruitful and interesting listening for all, whether someone is a budding leader, someone is starting his career, or maybe a CEO or CXO. Over to you, sir. We are again honored and privileged to have you with us. This platform is all yours. Jai Hind, sir. Most welcome.
Jai Hind,
Sir.
thank you, and a very, very big Jai Hind to all the listeners also. I must put on record my deep appreciation for Sunil, Shirish, Satish, Changepreneurs for having given me this opportunity to come on the camera for the third time. So I don't know whether I deserve to come even for the first time, but then I have promised them only one thing, that I will be extremely honest with them in whatever I share with them. Probably uh, somewhere honesty is paying, and here I am for the third time, right? This particular episode is especially on leadership, and by the time you finish it, you are going to be completely, filled in your head with something called the four C's, right? Now, what these four C's are, we'll see that during the recording. But the best part is the start of all these four C's were four S's. Now, what these four S's were? One is Satish, one is Sunil, one is Shirish, and one is Sanjay. So no one realized. So no one realized there were four S's. Which finally brought us up to four C's. So that's how we'll start now. Yeah. So I think since this is a thing episode on leadership, what I will do is I will just tell you how exactly do I plan to just split the subjects so that you are very clear as to how exactly are we going to be proceeding. Right? There is going to
Absolutely.
be a preamble. The preamble is going to be very important. Preamble actually is going to set us up thinking that whatever we have been thinking about leadership so far in life, has it been correct? I'll come to my journey. When I say my journey, 40 years of journey. So, which was that first year and what is that 40th year? And did the journey finish on into the 40th year? Or did it start in 40th year? There's a big event which took place in 40th year, which I'll be sharing. When we talk about leadership in context of the formal education, I've just randomly taken one institution, right? And it is going to be true for all the institutions across the country. Then a theory of leadership which I have propounded myself after 40 years of practicing it every day. Every breath that I have lived with that theory. And it is not only spoken, it is an act. It talks about timeline. It talks about seed of leadership. And this is the major portion of the leadership that I'm going to be talking on. And then at the end, I will put in some seeds into your mind all over again to tell you that these are other huge topics on which I have worked. I have followed my life, which actually make you a much, much bigger personality that than you actually planned to become just by following certain things. So that will be at the end, right? So, and today's, I'll be very happy if today's session, I'll stop after regular intervals. I want you both to jot down the questions as fast as possible. Quickly ask. Let us have a small question answer session. The answers are going to be short, crisp, so that we can go over to the next one. So here is the
Absolutely.
first break for questions.
So beautiful. I think so. You put it that four S's have led to four C's now. You said this aspect of the preamble, which I really liked, saying that's how we start off. So my first question is maybe it also comes into the aspect of the preamble, which you said. There's something at 40. There's also began at 40, or the 40 has been space. So when did you know that you were a leader?
I never knew. I never knew that I was a leader. I never even knew that I will ever be a leader. I joined as raw, as an iron ore when it came to OTA. I didn't know whether I was going to be converted into a knife or a beautiful sculpture out of steel. I don't know. So, like I said, I chiseled myself after entering OTA. So it is making of a leader was as if that stone had two hands, which was chiseling itself. So I don't have an answer. I don't know. So it's very automatically it started becoming because then I had certain ideas in my head that yeah, this is the only way I can go ahead in life. There is nothing else I can do, right? So let me come to leadership. We have never analyzed or realized what I'm going to just tell you now. There are people who teach leadership, right? They offer theories, they never act. Teachers, institutions, academies, postgraduate. Tell me an institution which does not have curriculum which does not include leadership. It includes. And there is someone designated, some teacher, some professor, some lecturer who teaches, right? You know what is the guiding factor of that teacher who's teaching leadership? His guiding factor is his exalted position in that institute, which cannot be questioned.
Mm.
He's a teacher. Then there are some preachers, people who preach. So when they preach, they completely lack understanding, but they preach because the guiding factor for them is the emotional power that they exercise over their subjects. That subject can be your children. This preaching people may be the parents, it may be the elders in the house, it may be elders in the colony who only because you are uncle, auntie, or hum aapse bade hain. So it is that position. So they will preach. So they have zero understanding of leadership, but they will preach. नहीं बेटा सच बोलना चाहिए. And this boy later on finds out कि that uncle is bloody cheating. वो उसने तार डाल के रखा हुआ तार के ऊपर बिजली चोरी कर रहा है घर के अंदर. So it is preaching. Then there are certain people who wear a mask of leader, military leaders, industrial leaders, political leaders. They wear a mask. The guiding factor for them is rank, money, or power, depending upon whether he is in military, industry, or politics. So, because he has got a rank, because he has got money as an industrialist, or because he has got power, for that power, you don't have to be the prime minister, a corporator in a block, or a panchayat. is more than sufficient because he has power more than the subjects who are under him. So there the guiding factor is rank, money, power. And they then misuse this by calling themselves leader, military leader, industry leader, right? Political leader. What leadership do they have? One doesn't know. But the best part is you cannot question any one of them. You question a teacher, you question your father, you question a military man, you question a political leader, you question an industry guy, you are bound to get it back. And you will never get an answer. True leadership is practiced quietly, authentically, without teaching, without preaching, without pretension. The leader just lives, does, acts, reacts to situations. It is the others who see a leader in him and convert him to a leader. You don't convert yourself. You see the point? You have done
Absolutely.
nothing. You have done nothing. You just acted, reacted, handled people the way you feel it should be done. It is the others who made you leader,
Correct.
right?
I think beautifully shared, sir.
Right?
So
So now,
guiding paths for all of that. Yeah.
yeah. I'll really love to. Couple of questions definitely would come because when I say a military leader, I feel like laughing. What nonsense are we talking of? Who's made you a leader? But then you call yourself a military. Why? Because you're wearing a rank. Was your conduct throughout your service career in accordance with what a good leader is? Don't question. Yeah. So anything so far? Any questions?
You mentioned a very interesting point in the last line. Was your conduct like a good leader? So, what is a good leader according to you?
This whole lecture is about that. I've got a major portion which is only covering this aspect.
Okay,
So
right.
if
So,
even at this stage, if you realize that yes, the way we have been looking at leadership is very incorrect. We cannot have teach, preach, mask. So I categorize the leadership in four forms: teach, preach, mask, practice. There are four different type of people: teach, preach, mask, practice. So one only teaches, doesn't follow. One only preaches, has no clue. Mask is always he's a fraud. He is masquerading. Practice is the guy who is actually practicing. And this a leader who practices leadership need not be in a socially or in a position of power. He simply needs to be with people. It can be Diwar ka Amitabh Bachchan coolie on a dockyard. It can be a auto rickshaw wala on an auto rickshaw stand. It can very simply be one of your jawans who is in the battle zone. It can be that small industrial worker because of whose leadership the industry, the owner becomes a billionaire. So when you talk about practice, it doesn't have to do with a man, his position, social standing, what he's earning, or what his capabilities are. No. So understand this. When you talk about teach, preach, mask, practice, these are the four forms of leaders, right? I also call them teach, preach, disguise, or reach. They mean the same. So teacher teaches, preacher preaches, disguise is that mass guy, and one is a guy who reaches your heart by his action. So when you talk about a teacher, he only talks about theory and words. He will inspire none. So the teach form of leadership, it will inspire no one. I have never got inspired in my life by my teachers who in school taught me what good character was.
Mm.
No,
Correct.
I was never impressed. Right? Come to preach. Anyone who preaches is hollow, meaningless, will use cliches, and generally they will be ignored by everyone. You have seen that in your houses, in your homes, when there are certain uncles you people ignore because their job is to come and give you advice. नहीं बेटा ऐसे नहीं ऐसे करते हैं. And then because you are young, you can't question him. That's why you say, okay, 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 uncle, वगैरह. And thereafter, you run out of the house and you laugh. So everyone ignores them. The third is the mask or the disguise guy. He masquerades as a leader. He camouflages himself as a leader. He conceals, he hides. It's a facade. It's a pretense. They are laughed at by everyone, not on the face. Because remember, everyone exercises power when it comes to mask. Everyone exercises power, and no one wants to go on the wrong side of power. But then everyone laughs at them, ignores them, right? The last is practice. There cannot be a bigger mirror that shines better than the one who practices. He never talks, the mirror never talks. You always go and see yourself to see if there are any spots on you in a clean mirror. There is always fear and respect, despite the person being very friendly to you 24/7, very accommodating, very reachable, very loving, very caring. You will always be scared of him. You will always respect him. There is always that underlying fear. And if I ask you why, you have no reason. You will not be able to give any reason, but it happens. Think over it. Start thinking of people who you know were absolute, genuine leaders who will fall into the category which you will put them after we finish today.
Absolutely, sir. I
And
think it's beautiful. Whatever you're sharing is not necessary about the rank, the leader, the role, the formal aspects of it. This is something that it comes from within and is practiced day in and day out. And the validation is internal. The validation is not external.
absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah. Can I go ahead now?
Please, sir, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what I get from it, I get my answer also is a good leader who practices what actually he does, and he doesn't have to claim that he's a leader. The aura comes on its own.
It comes on its own. You don't have to. You don't have to. You'll be surprised. There are times when my children and people who are around me tell me inside home that what a clown you are inside the house. If people come to know outside that this is how you are, what will happen? I said I can behave like this just because I am inside the house with you people.
I'm taking a break. Interesting.
So coming to the small, we are still in the preamble, right? Why did I have my own theory? Because there was no theory. Right from my OTA days, I found that in the classes we were taught that you have to be truthful, and I found everyone lying. So leadership was nothing else but theory. It was supposed to be taught. That's why it was taught. It was never supposed to be followed. If it was supposed to be followed, then why were the cadets lying? So why my own theory? Because I had nothing. I I had absolutely nothing, no character, no nothing. I was like a water. You could pour me in any jar and I would take that shape. And they tried to put water, telling me it's a round jar, but they put me in a square jar, which I realized, this is not what they told me that it is. So what do? You start chiseling your own round jar. Military things, ranks are the certificate to leadership. And you will see the difference when if you are in military, every time you get a rank and you go to a higher one, a person starts thinking that he's actually a leader, that's why he's getting a rank. He does not realize that there are x number of vacancies which have to be filled, period, whether anyone is worth it or not. It is military, the ranks have to be filled. So if there are 30 vacancies, the 30 people will be put in there, period. And there is a criteria laid down that the people who make it for the next rank should fulfill this criteria. So if there are 40 people who fulfill the criteria, there are 30 places only. So 30 get promoted. So now you become a leader. You never followed anything when you were in academy. Now you're a leader. No, you can't be. Likewise, politicians. I explained to you. Just because he's a politician, he's got power. He says, I'm a leader. Industrialist. I've told you exactly what that guy would think, right? Now, generations after generations of children, youth, college going, 25 to 30, 30 to 35, 35 to 40 are confused what leadership is. Go to random 5 institutes, pick up 2 IITs, pick up 2 IIMs, pick up 2 military academies, uh, go to any other place you want. Politicians, yeah, they don't have any academy. So go anywhere, ask random guys what leadership is all about. None will answer you. They have got absolutely no clue because there is no one who follows. So when you talk about all this stuff, when they are so much confused, then you start asking yourself who has permitted them to use the word leader as a suffix after their profession, political leader, industry leader, military leader. Who's permitted them to use the word leader? I start questioning the very foundation of itself. Who has permitted you to use the word leader? Right? Now, this is the place where there are 2 statements that I have written down specifically that are going to shake you. None of them writes, speaks, or talks about leadership. There are no books. None of them write books. None of them are on social media. None of them make videos. None of them write anything that will help the next generation or youth to become a good leader. If you were a military leader and you put a rank of general or lieutenant general, major general, colonel, whatever, why don't you have courage to convert your 35, 40 years of military service leadership now into something formal to teach? Why doesn't a political leader create leaders? Why doesn't the industrial leader create leaders? Why don't you write books on this? Why don't you make videos? Why don't you write articles? Why don't you come face to face? Why don't you come into eye contact? Why don't you visit places? Why don't you declare yourself to be a leader? And that you are capable in looking into eyes of someone and saying that, yes, this is what a leader is. Why don't you do it? So now, generations after generation, so political leaders, military leaders, industrial leaders, and leaders from all fields, walks of life, they have wasted their life, their experience, their being a leader, and not prepared the next generation. Why? There is a reason. And that reason is hypocrisy is to the core. You want others to assume that you are a leader and treat them as one. He will sit in that throne where you must come and bow and say, "There, yes, you are a leader." And he per se will do nothing to tell you that these actions of mine automatically tell you that I'm a leader. So this means the day we separate out the word leadership from ranks, power, money, I think we'll start searching for what a leader is. Right? Now, when he uses the word leader, there is something that precedes that. That is character. Between the character and the word leader, there is a gap. This gap can be filled by only 2 things. This gap can be filled by ego or it can be filled by leadership. Nothing else.
Mm.
Have you
Very,
realized it?
very interesting bit. Yeah.
Have you realized it? The gap can of character and a leader can only be filled by two things. Either ego will fill it or leadership will fill it.
That becomes the bridge.
That is the bridge. So if you don't have leadership qualities, you'll fill it up with ego. You talk to your senior like this. Simple as that.
And I think there are a lot of times where even in my experience, where these things have happened in terms of, the position taking over, and then, how dare you talk to somebody like this? You should man samman as being part of the whole equation. You to always not question a certain decision. Everything that the person XYZ takes it is that, and then somehow it whatever happens after that is because of their leadership. Right? It becomes because I am, and so there is. This is. It
Exactly.
becomes definitely about the ego space. And another interesting thing that you mentioned, that people don't tell or share their experience, and two very interesting stories from the epics come to me. Even when Ravana died and even when Bhishma died, right? Lakshmana and the Pandavas go and sit with both of them who are on the last breaths to download all that they've learned over the years, and then say, yeah, tell it to us as to whatever you've learned, so that it can be a space where we can go ahead and take it up. Which also brings up to the point of saying our role models are so flawed right now. So that means, even if I'm looking at somebody to say, and at least inspired by them in their space of being leadership, my role models are also flawed.
Exactly. You're right. You're so right. So when your role models are flawed, who do you look up to?
That's the biggest question.
Exactly. And what I'm saying is, now just think all your life that you spent, the adult life that you spent, in whichever field. How many times have you found people talking about leadership with conviction, hands in the pocket, looking into the eyes of the audience and talking about leadership? You will not. There is not one. You get a military guy on the dais, the only thing he will talk about Kargil war mein ye hua, then I did this, my battalion attacked like this. No, I'm not interested, boss, in that. I am interested in you as a leader. What is it that made you different from others? What are those personal flaws that you have which have been seen by the other people, because of which you hesitate so much of talking about leadership? Don't talk about wars and Kargil and Hajipir मैंने कैसे cancel किया and how did I attack the tanks and how did I get the Mahavir Chakra Param. Bullshit. How have you lived your life to be called a leader? Don't forget, when I am leading my men into the war, it is not my leadership, it is the fear of getting court martialed that a man doesn't run back. He knows that he's going to be sorted out inside out. My leadership comes in when I go into the war, lead my 500 men. I don't even look back to see whether they are following me or not. I'm confident they are following me. That's leadership,
Hmm.
right? Coming to the last part of the preamble, the certain questions which I ask myself, which I will be answering. Who has the right to be called a leader? Point one, how do you be a public figure and still become a leader? When you say public figure, if you are in public domain, I from my side, you are a public figure. How do you establish your credibility, prove your integrity, let the people build a virtual personality around you without knowing you? We are talking now, I'm talking about society at large. I have spent 25 years quietly in the army. Suddenly, I have come out. I want to be accepted in the society. Thank God, social media is there to help me out. So, which flashes my face everywhere, wherever I want it can. But then that face cannot be face. That face has to have a mouth. it speaks. What does it speak? How does this face, a image, a name now create credibility, prove its integrity in public domain? How do you do it? What makes people trust someone, particularly nowadays, or otherwise also? If for a minute, imagine social media wasn't there. There's your father's friend who you haven't met any time in your life. He comes to your home and you find him very, very impressive. But then how do you trust him? What do you know about his integrity and credibility? Why should you listen to him if he gives you an advice? You won't do that, whether or not there is social media. So when you don't do that with your father's friend, here you are talking about becoming a public image on social media where you want people to trust you. How do you do that? So if that be so, I just want to ask all the political leaders who are on social media, there would be 10,000 of them. All the veterans who are on social media, there will be another 10,000. And the industry guys, another 10,000. Why are they all not leaders? Go on everyone's handle, go on everyone's account. Everyone only blabbers about his specialty in his own work area. So microbiologists can't come and continuously talk about microbiology on social media to become a public figure or a leader. He can't. So if a microbiologist cannot become a leader by talking about microbiology, why how should a military veteran become a leader just because of talking word which he knows the civilian doesn't know anything about? So just because it's a very, very attractive thing for the public, अच्छा जय हिंद बोलेंगे, अच्छा वो गोला फटेगा, खून जाएगा, उधर से बम आएगा, इधर से पाकिस्तानी मरेगा. Come on. So because it interests people, so you become a leader. That microbiologist who probably is doing 10 times better job, but because you don't understand anything and because that field doesn't interest you, that man may be much better leader than anyone else. But we don't. This generally brings me to the end of the preamble part, right? I think lot of thought-provoking things with whatever I have said, it should be tickling your mind to ask some questions. So I'll shift over to the second part, which I had said was my journey. And before that, let's have a interaction of questions, answers, whatever we have.
If you want to go ahead.
Yeah, so there's that use of the word authenticity quite a few times when you talk about leadership in preamble. So my question is that how do you balance this authenticity with the expectations of your role?
You just do what you are supposed to be doing correctly. It is others who will judge you. That you are not authentic cannot be hidden by you. It will be found out by people. And the time they find out that you are not authentic, the next time you will be two notches lower in his trust. You simply cannot afford not to be authentic. At the cost of you cannot afford. When I was a commanding officer, I always used to tell my people. So there is a typical system in army which is called a Sainik Sammelan, which is to be held once in every month in every unit, in which the CO addresses the entire men, and the men are open to ask any question to CO. So generally, that's a interactive session, supposedly, but no interaction takes place, or whatever interaction takes place, that it doesn't hold really much meaning. I always used to say certain things in my Sainik Sammelan. I think I commanded for 28, 29 months. So 28, 29 months I came in front of the men, and I used to tell them, the day you hear even 1 rupee corruption against me, and for that I should not have accepted 1 rupee. Even if you hear about an allegation or you make an allegation on me that I was corrupt and I took 1 rupee, I said, I'll take off my rank. But I said, Army does not permit me to walk out. I said, the number 2 in command in the unit, I'll hand over command to him. I will never come out of my room till the time officially my command finishes. Even allegation is more than sufficient. Secondly, I used to tell them, I said, you are 500. I said, I have got 2 eyes. 2 eyes watching 500 people versus 1,000 eyes watching one man. Who will go wrong? Men will never go wrong. So it's this realization that must come to you. You're not smart enough to read 500 people, but those 500 people collectively are smart enough to read you. When you talk about authenticity, you don't have to do something unauthentic and be quiet about it. No, people will find it. So you can't afford to not be authentic. 24/7, 365, lifetime. You can't be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And a follow-up question that I have from you, sir, is that you talked about the rank, the position that brings a person to a place where he has an authority and he evokes actions from the people who are his subjects or following him. So the question that comes here is that how do you inspire action in people without authority, without rank?
Very easy way. You will always have some social contact. You will have professional contact. Always, right? Your influence starts from there. You can't go to a group which you don't know and thereafter you check, okay, now that you start reading me and take me as a leader. No, it spreads. You have to spread. So your name first will spread amongst your relatives, then your friends, then your peers, then at workplace. Very slowly over a period of time, you will find that the people start coming to you. Or your spoken reputation is so good all across that you start mattering to people. When you don't matter to people, I think the commentary is very clear. You are being ignored. No one thinks it is worth wasting the time coming and talking to you. Right?
It is done not as a part of a tick box saying I should do it, rather you doing it because you want to do it. So if I am following a leader, I am not looking at it saying, he or she is my manager. It's a task that needs to be, worked with for them, so I will go to them. Rather, you want to make that happen. So you're doing it from Swaichya rather than, somebody. It's an external to an internal thing again.
Yeah. So again that follow up is that how does a person bring in that inspiration? Supposing I want that Sunil should follow what I am doing. How do I bring in that inspiration in Sunil? That's
Strength,
what exactly I'm coming at. Yeah. What should I
strength
do?
of,
How should I behave? How should I conduct myself? That inspiration come on its own from inside. It's not an external pressure. That's what I
strength
wanted to
of
ask.
character, strength of character, and the 4 C's. Nothing else. We are coming to that. Strength
Yeah.
of your character and the 4 C's. You require nothing else in life. And the thing is, it is so difficult to follow. Right? Brings
Maybe
me.
before we
Sorry.
go to the 4 C's, the question I think I leave it to you to answer whether it is coming in relevance to now or a little later. So do you grow into leadership as in like it's a bigger container of space and you go get in there and then slowly expand into that version of what you call as a leader to your own self? Or is it more of a fitting in that you do for saying, hey, this is something that I have to fit into as a particular structure, role, uh, values?
No, you can't do that. I understood what you're trying to say.
Hmm.
I'll answer in very short here. We are going to be talking in detail about it later, right? So you cannot say, okay, this is the space for the leader. I am here, so I must grow and mold myself into and become part of that. No, no. When you grow as a leader, wherever and however you are growing, always a container will be made around it.
Mm.
Soon as you outgrow the container, a new container will. Soon as you outgrow that, so it is not something that is limiting you. It is your personality, your leadership, which is expanding, which the environment now is trying to understand, and that is how you go up higher and higher in a hierarchy. Otherwise, you will remain same,
Mm.
right?
Absolutely. I think for me, the metaphor that's coming is a tree. No? A tree keeps expanding. A tree keeps
Absolutely,
growing. A tree keeps.
it's like a tree. So you have to decide, which tree I want to become. How exactly do I want to grow? Which side do I want to grow? That same example of the sculptor, there is this marble, and you have got two hands, and that marble is you. How do you want to chisel yourself? And the way you chisel yourself, that's how people are going to see it, right?
Like, because you said there's so many commentaries that have been done, so many teachers, so many theories, so many papers, and possibly somebody who's never read any of those papers, never gone to any of those lectures, can is socially agreed upon as somebody who's a leader. So it need not be that you have formally been trained, formally listened to somebody. It is like you said, the tree bit. The seed is in it. Right? So the tree is inside the seed and
Absolutely.
grows with the right nurturing, the right environment, the right place that gets there.
Yeah. Coming to my journey, this is going to be a very short section on it, right? Why I'm bringing it up here is because some portion we have already covered in the previous video, but then I don't assume that everyone would have seen that. So 1981, when I have landed up in Officers Training Academy, I'll simply say as an iron ore, I have absolutely no idea of what a leader is, what am I supposed to do, how am I going to become a good officer, this, that. I absolutely had nothing that I carried from home, college, anywhere, and all my 20 years when I went for the training. I was 21 when I joined. So I don't know exactly what I had to do. That's a place where a very thin, small book of leadership, which also had one part, the first part on character and second part on military leaders. And that small thin book, then I said, okay, fine. If there is nothing, if they say that this book, if you follow this book, you'll become a good officer. So why don't I try my entire life and read this book and follow this book and be exactly like this, come hell or high water? Let anything happen, but I will not budge. So let me see. So that is how I started. Now, when I say I finished that journey in 2021, when I said finished, so did I stop becoming a leader? No, I did not. But what did I do in 2021 is something that has shocked the veteran community quite a lot, right? My experience of about 4 or 5 years then on the social media was, though I had retired long, I came on social media, I think just around 2017 or something, actively and basically on Twitter. So where I said anyone and every veteran who I knew or didn't know, who I knew in a very, very what you call negative way, was preaching, and then they would argue and they would abuse and they would interact with me and they would clash. So I said, yeah, there is some way I have to put a what do you call that sieve, right, through which everyone must pass. So I did something for which I got huge amount of flack. I did it on social media. I did it openly. I said, what you have done in your service career inside army is not known by civil. Now you want to come and establish yourself in civil. And the only thing you have got is your rank to throw. and you want people to respect you because you are an army officer, air force officer, naval officer. And just because your name has got a prefix of a rank, you expect to be taken as a leader and you expect to be respected. Whereas, of most of the people I knew in that, they were absolutely useless when they were within the service. So, why don't you tell that? There are certain people I knew personally. So, I said, now I have to stand along with them in society today, and there is nothing that separates me from them. So I said, every veteran who wants to establish himself in civil society must have a veteran's declaration. This veteran's declaration will be a document which you will print, you will sign, you will take an image, you will upload that with your signatures on social media, on all the platforms. You make a video of yourself and you upload that. And there was such a resistance to what I had said, and I started sending it to a lieutenant general, retired. I said, sir, this is my lieutenant general, how easy it is to make it. So why don't you make it? So my veterans declaration is on my YouTube channel in English. It is in Hindi. It is on my website. It is signed and uploaded on social media. No changes have been made since 2021. 2021, that is 40 years after I had entered OTA, I said the only way is to establish myself in civil is to write a veteran declaration and give it. Right? So it's going to be a 1.5 minute read. I will just read it out, and my veteran declaration is everywhere. And you'll be surprised after having written on social media hundreds of times till date. From 2021, we are in 2025. I've got only two veterans who have signed it. Right? What is so scary about the Veterans Declaration? If you are what you claim you are, so where is the problem writing it down? Isn't it? Where's the problem writing it down? If you say you are honest, write down you're honest. If you say you have not misused army or resources, write it down. Can you write it down when you know that in public domain there are thousands of people who are watching you, and one thing you write and they will strip you in on the social media platforms? Because for every friend you have, as you grow up in life, you have got at least two who don't like you. What I'll do is, this is March 2021. This is a document, this is on video, this is on my website, this is everywhere. And I am reading exactly the way I have made it. There have been no changes since March 2021. 40 years. So when I say my journey, it started from OTA, a clueless boy, to this declaration. So just read it, listen to it carefully, and immediately after that, ask me questions, right? Quote, I am a veteran, trust me. This declaration is not easy to sign. Do not attempt to sign if you know what you feel will be proved false by someone else. This declaration will remain in public domain for all to see and say, he is a veteran I trust. Then I give my website's address, colonelsanjaypande.com. I, Colonel Sanjay Kamlakar Pande, Army training years 1981-82, service years 1982 to 2006, retired in years 2006 and continuing. Sign this veteran's declaration and permit screenshots to be taken. My name, my date of birth, 12 September 60, Training Officers Training Academy, school studied in. From my class 1 to BCom, I have given every school where I have studied. My service career, I am making the following declarations. I opted for premature release from Army at peak of my career in 2006 for reasons submitted to Army headquarters. I was a selection grade colonel, commanded my unit in Batalik, and put up my application for release as soon as I had settled my unit in Peace Station after high altitude and LOC deployment for 2.5 years. During command of my unit, we received 8 gallantry awards to men under command and a unit citation while in Batalik, Kargil. Active LOC, high altitude, and most remote area. I have absolutely clean record of my 26 years of service. I am a declared Chetwodian, which simply means that my entire career, nation, men, and self came in exactly this strict order. No one can ever come up to put even smallest blemish on my service career, character, or values I stand for. I challenge anyone to prove me wrong. In my entire service, I never asked or took even one favor for annual confidential report, postings, gallantry award, course grading, foreign posting, promotion, or anything that helps in career growth. In my entire service or even in post retirement life, I have not done even 1 rupee corruption either in kind or cash. In my entire service and after retirement, I have never approached any senior in army to grant a favor of whatever nature, be it personal, career in civil, representing civil or industry for personal or organizational gain. In my service or after retirement, I have never done out of the way favors based on my caste, state, school, entry, regiment, lanyard, association, or in any capacity. I challenge anyone to counter it. I have never stepped in my own unit after command since 2005 to date. I am in touch with over 600 veterans of my unit and 100% widows of deceased soldiers with children still under education. I visit Himachal Pradesh, Northern Punjab, Jammu region 3 times in a year at my own expenditure from 2006 to date to meet my unit veterans and widows. I have no touching cash, Samman or Zuban initiative under Savita, which under which 100% tuition fees and other expenses of children are reimbursed to the wives of the deceased soldiers. Cash is deposited by donor directly into the widow's account. I have no affiliation with any political party. I express my views openly. I desire nothing, will not accept any position that will force me to compromise on my values or military ethos. I chose to serve in the army. I am proud of each day I spent in army. Given a chance, I will serve in army again and again and again and will never be tired. Putting all of above in public domain is possible due to my being what I write. No fear. Social media is brutal, and anyone who knows me and hates me will come up to counter. For a veteran to be respected, he needs to write as boldly and openly as I write about my life in service. India selected me to serve. I did not cheat India. Now, this is what every veteran needs to put in public domain to be counted as a true soldier. If I missed anything, do let me know. I will add and upload. Will you write the same declaration to be respected as a veteran? I have signed this one. It's in public domain. It's on YouTube. It's on video. It's in every form. It is everywhere, right? From 2021 till 2025, I have not even got one SMS or a small message or a comment. And the worst part is there are only two people who have signed it till date. Why? Who has got courage to write what I have written? It takes tremendous amount of courage. It doesn't take courage. It simply requires you to follow what you were taught to be as a leader, but suffer. And this is what you have asked me couple of times earlier. Have you not suffered? I've suffered a lot, right? Public domain is not the place where I must now try and say, yeah, this is what I suffered. No, this path is of suffering. But then today, when I get this to write this, I have got courage. And when there are certain lieutenant generals who try to question me, I simply forward this document to them कि सर इसको पहले साइन करके पब्लिक डोमेन पे डाल दो फिर बात करें. No one does that. People just stop interacting with me. Why? What are you scared of? Aren't you military leaders? Do it. It doesn't happen. So this is the place where my part two comes to an end.
But what made you write or think of this in the first place? Because you said you did this in
Yeah,
2021 and
there
you
is a
retired in
reason.
2006.
See, there is a reason. When I came, I was on social media for about 4 years. To me, there can be nothing more humiliating but to stand in the same line where certain such people were standing, which I know do not deserve to even be on social media because of their acts, because of their corruption, because we have spoken reputation within army. Now everyone wants to come out clean because he retired, he's got a rank. So to me, it was there cannot be more humiliating thing than to be seen by you both. For example, the same way that you will see another five officers, each one of them puts a colonel, three of whom I know are corrupt. To me, it is humiliating. How do I separate myself out from the crowd? So the only way to separate myself out from the crowd was to do and sign something and publicly declare it. And every time an officer tried to argue with me, I would only write, "Have you signed your veterans declaration? Here is the copy." And the guy has never interacted me with me thereafter. Why is that so much fear to interact with me? Because there are so many skeletons you have got, so many skeletons in your cupboard. You want it to be closed, and you want to sit outside your house and say, "I am so and so. I am a political leader, I am an industrial leader, I am a military leader, and now you, because I have got power, money, and rank, oblique, of course, so you will respect me." In the next house, I am sitting. I know I'm clean. I know I've spent such a fantastic career. I know I'm in touch with my 600 men. You are not. You only boast about your regiment, but you don't know a single Jawan of yours. You don't know a single widow of yours. Did Chetwood ask you to sacrifice the Chetwood credo the day you retire? He said, "Nation first, men next, you last." So was it uh, connected with retirement? That this is only up to your date of retirement.
Mhm.
What happens thereafter? Nation goes to hell. Men can go and screw themselves. I, self, will be number one. No. If in 1981 I was taught by army that this is what it is, I took it for life. I must have been an idiot. But then that is how my senses told me that I should be. But then throughout this journey, when 99.9% people have fallen aside on the way, if I'm the only guy who was left standing, or maybe a few more like me, why will I not separate myself from the crowd to tell you that no, boss, I am not that, I'm this. And the only way is this, right? I am writing it, I am fearless, you write it. That was the reason. And 40 years, so that's why I said I don't know whether it came to an end or it started. This probably it started because from 2021 onwards, probably my confidence was twice than what it was before after I signed this and put it in public domain everywhere it is available. I was called in Ministry of Defense by one of the secretaries for a discussion in 2020 end, COVID, towards the end. No, 2021, right? We had about 6, 7 meetings. The secretary is retired now. The first day when I walked in, I gave this declaration to him and also gave him, I said, if you talk about paying me or you talk about hiring me as a consultant, if you want to declare my name that because of him so many things have happened, I said, sir, I'll stop coming. I'm coming here because you have respected me for what I am, and you know me because this is how I am on the social media. So I wrote a document, signed this veteran declaration. I gave it to him. I said, "Sir, our interaction starts." He's an IS officer who was retiring. You can imagine the clash between military and IS. And here is an IS officer who called me. I had 6, 7 meetings. The day we had the last meeting, he had his 2, 3 joint secretaries over there, all of them, including the secretary. They stood in their office, they left their chairs, they stood up. They said, "Sir, if there is a person we have respected, ever it is you, we have never seen." And each one thanked. For me, it was more than sufficient. And the 6, 7 meetings that we had, huge number of things that I suggested to them, which are all lying here only, as part of my this work. 4, 5 got implemented. He says, "I'll implement it before I retire." So now, should I go to social media and say कि मैंने बताया था? You can't. It's for the organization. And on first day, I said, "No, I don't want any credit, no recognition, no nothing." So that's how. So that's how probably I've come out much stronger after 2020. So here we finish the second part. So very slowly we'll now go to the leadership context. So I think another, how much time have we been? It's been 1 hour.
1 hour.
So we want to speed it up.
Take it as whatever pace comes to you, sir. I think we are really lovely listening, learning, reflecting. Maybe because we are short of questions, because we are reflecting on so many of the things that you're sharing, and it really is making sense for a lot of things. At least from my end, I'm sure Shirish also agrees.
Shirish?
Yes, sir. Let's go ahead.
Perfectly okay. So before I go on to the actual theory that is mine, there is something I will share with you, right? I'm reading out certain things. Where do they appear? I will not tell you. Probably when we are chatting independently and not on the camera, I'll tell you exactly the source, right? Whatever I'm reading out. The real source of this human capability is our character. Before this, the line is, however, these constitute only a small proportion of leadership potential. The real source of unique human capability is our character. No one can reshape and strengthen it better than the concerned individual. Statement number one. Number two, late in 70s, a very, very senior officer had a interaction with his subordinate generals and brigadiers, right? And they felt, the generals and the brigadiers felt, that they could perform certainly much better only if today's young officers had a more professional outlook to lead their troops. So this was the crib of the brigadiers and generals to the lieutenant general. Now the lieutenant general was an intelligent man. So he found an opportunity to interact with commanding officers and the officers who are subordinate, who these generals and brigadiers were referring to. Now, he sounded the commanding officers, the company, squadron, and battery commanders. The feedback he got was that they could achieve the impossible if only they had better quality senior officers. Have you realized it? Okay. So the corps commander realizes that there was an urgent need for improving leadership capability and mutual confidence at all levels. This is 1970. This is 2025. Where are we? Has anyone asked, where exactly are we today? We are exactly there. We are on the same treadmill of 1970. Coming to another very good statement. Now, there is a book called Mahavakya, Meaning Eternal Truth on Leadership. Now, this is an Indian book which gets translated into many, many foreign languages. The ancient Indian heritage that the source of leadership is value based character. So, the Indian heritage, ancient Indian heritage, it is written down value based character is the source of leadership. Okay. If that be so, my first question is okay, officers of our army have to be men of character, which again is a very good statement. Yes. If that be so, why do we have a JAG branch, Judge and Advocate General branch, right? Where the data is there in public domain. Find out in last from 70 till date, after all these things about leadership were put in, how many officers have been court-martialed? Why have they been court-martialed? Forget about the operations part. I'm talking about anything that has got nothing to do with operations. So this means there's something gone wrong somewhere that so many court-martials take place, right? Now, the obsession of army is management gurus and industry. It's an obsession of army. We'll always compare ourselves with industry, right? A word of caution. Management gurus, after fiery enthusiasm about management being the ultimate skill to successfully run families, institutions, organizations, enterprise, communities, and nations, have finally realized that leadership and management are different. We manage things but have to lead people. So now suddenly army decides, their teaching decides that management gurus are wrong. They manage things, but leadership and management are different. Now leadership is synonymous with military, army. They are same words. Army and leadership are same. So what those guys have is management, right? How can you be Indian heritage? Be talking about character. You talk about character. Your book says character. Everyone says character is the source of leadership, right? Cadets are coming to you at 18 years of age at NDA, 2021 at IMA. No officer gets commissioned before 21 years age. At what age children go to IIMs, IITs? They are exactly going at the same age. Whenever the campus placement takes place, what is the average age? 21, 22. When are politicians, their children, getting inducted into politics? I think the day they take birth. The day they take birth, they are inducted. Now, everyone agrees that source is character. But army industry is getting the people at 21 years age, right? So why are you assuming that a person has walked in with full character? Why isn't your teaching anywhere about character? No one talks about character. So assumption is everyone has got perfect character when he comes in, and now we will make him a leader. Whereas the Indian heritage, and you yourself say that the source of leadership is character, and you've got absolutely no responsibility, no formal education, you practice nothing when it comes to character. So is it not contradicting? You're trying to make a leader whose character you don't know, or you are not part of forming, or you never taught him, you never tested him. Now you can't say, "Okay, when we carry out our SSB interviews, we come to know whether a person is truthful or not." Then why is the JAG branch there? Why are people getting court-martialed? There's a big gap. There's a massive gap. This is that precise gap which sometime earlier I said that it is character and the leader, and there is a massive gap. It is either filled with leadership or it is filled with ego.
Ego. Mhm.
You see the gap now. Where exactly is the problem? The problem exactly is that we don't pay attention to character at all.
Hmm.
We don't pay attention to character at all. And various streams, whether it is military, whether it is industry, they are getting the people at an age when they are beyond being trained for character, right? So there is a timeline of leadership. Understand this point, and if you understand this point, it's going to be so easy to understand the main content of my leadership theory which comes in. There's a timeline of leadership. So let us start with birth. 0 to 5 years. Infant. So there's nothing we can do. Huh? 5 to 10 years of age. Child. There's hardly anything we can do. 10 to 15 years of age. The child is now acclimatizing to the world because he's now stepping out of the house, maybe in the colony. He's interacting, he's able to communicate. Earlier, he used to blabber, but now he communicates. He's trying to acclimatize, he's trying to adapt, he's trying to adjust, he's trying to accustom, he's trying to familiarize, he's trying to settle down. This is what is happening to him from 10 years to 15 years of age. This is the time he's got his eyes wide open. He's seeing everything that's happening in the house, in the colony, with the relatives, in school. And with whatever intelligence he has, he's trying to make something out of it, which is helping him acclimatize, adapt, adjust, accustom, familiarize, and settle. Come to 15 to 20 years of age. Now he's got stability of some kind. I don't know, positive or negative. He's got maturity of some kind. I don't know, positive or negative. He's rooting for something. He's trying to establish himself. He's trying to take decisions which he must take. He's being forced into that situation. बस का पास खत्म हो गया है and I am standing in the line. He says that you have to pay full money even if 10 days only pass is left. Otherwise, you can go back home. So he must take a decision now. Should I pay monthly pass money when the only days I can use is from 21 to 30? And this is a very big decision for him, right? So he's trying to establish. He's trying to understand what is right, what is wrong. Guidance matters a lot, right? So by 20, the only environment he's exposed to is home. This home may be in rural India. This home may be in South Delhi. It may be in South Bombay. But now when he crosses that line and comes on the other side of admission, in his class, he will find people from South Bombay, he'll find from Bangalore, from Chennai, and this guy is from UP, a non-English speaking guy. गंवार है, ये गांव वाला इसको क्या पता? So this is that clash between the children that starts. If that be so, why is not every Delhiite, every Bombayite, every Bangalorean, every Chennai guy heading every corporation across the world, wherever Indians matter? Why are there stories we hear so often of people who are from rural India who are heading the corporations, non-English speaking guys who are doing wonderfully well? There is something going on. This is what we don't understand, that this is the timeline of leadership. And at 20 years now, NDA oblique IMA or Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy, the bureaucrats or industry, these people, IIM, IITs, they are just getting the children when from infant to child to acclimatizing to stability, all the periods have gone back. This is where exactly the character was made. Secondly, have you accepted the fact that you are accepting people whose character has already been crystallized, and hence you must now make them unlearn everything, make them learn again, and now start your journey? When leadership books are endorsed by 15 retired lieutenant generals and one retired major general, 16 of them in total, I'm absolutely shocked that you are writing a book in which you are saying that character is the source of leadership. You are signing it, you are endorsing it, and the book doesn't talk about character at all. And then you straight away start leadership. So this means we assume that everyone is of fantastic character, and now I must make him a leader. And that's the place where things go wrong. That's why court martials take place, because we don't pay attention. When we talk about the 20 years, up to 20 years age, I I call it the character zone. That's the character zone. 20 years onwards is the execution zone. You're executing your life. You're converting your life to be yourself, to be independent. So when it was character zone, you were not with the organization. When you are with the organization, you already passed character zone. So you land up with what you are. Who paid attention to you in these years, in your character zone years? You see the point, right? So whether you to talk about military, you talk about industry, politics, career, you already have a guy who has formed a character, right? How can you expect him to be a leader all over again now? But then what we are trying to do, we are trying to take a square peg and hammer it into a round hole. This is what we are trying to do by making a leader out of him. And we are messing it up. And that's where now I come to the main part of what I have to be sharing. And before that, I'll have a water break, and you can have a question break. You can ask, we can chat.
So, in terms of this space, so you were saying that there's a round peg and there's a square that we are superimposing on it. That if there is a square that is bigger than the circle, there is a possibility of chipping it off. But what if there is a space where I am, say, a smaller triangle and I'm going into a larger circle? Now I'll be forced to sort of, tell others and some other places where I think I'm short of this particular expectation of that role or whatever it may be. And then it leads me to show off to the rest of the world, not expose that I have certain vulnerabilities and so. And that because we've never in any of our so-called textbooks told that tell people that this is my problem. We are only told that go ahead and trumpet all your successes. We will never talk about successes in transition, failures in transition, or anything else. The transition is forgotten completely. And whatever point you brought out about the journey of character, our assumption is the character is either bigger than the role or the character is already fully formed for it to be exactly fitting into or making sense to a particular sector.
I think it's a beautiful question you asked. And I was smiling because I expected this question, right? That is the first thing, yeah. See, when we talk about round peg in a square hole, will go. Triangle in a square will go. Round in round will be a perfect fit. Square in square is going to be a perfect fit. So whenever the peg which is smaller and which is going in peg are the four C's. It is that peg you have to develop. The area which is all empty around it is what your personality is. You develop it according to the requirement of that organization. You have to focus on this small peg which is going to go in. It is this what is four C's. It is this which has to be very strong. Now, for a minute, imagine now this triangle which is going in a square. One is made of steel, another is made of plywood given that shape. What will withstand time? The steel. This is the difference between two people. This is why that plywood will fail in industry, in politics, in military, will get court martial. The steel will be strongest whether he's here, here, or here. Right? This is that question you asked me just now. So it's a perfect answer. This is what exactly we are coming. That's
Now I'm-
sorry.
Yeah, now I'm really curious to see what the four C's are.
Yeah. So coming to Shirish, anything?
Yeah. So I have a faint idea of the four C's because you talked about these four C's in the first episode, if I remember. Character, capability, commitment, and contribution. I think they are the same four C's. But I'm really curious to know about them in detail. Even if they are same and it's something else, then obviously looking forward to it. So now,
See, when we talk about seed of leadership, it is sown when you are 3 years of age. तुमने चीनी चुराई थी क्या? नहीं मम्मी. और उसके मुंह पे चीनी लगी हुई है. What does the mother do? बड़ा शैतान है. Naughty boy. There's another way. कभी झूठ मत बोलना बेटा लाइफ में. आपने चीनी खाई है, मुंह पे लगी है. झूठ बोलने से ये होगा. Two mothers, two fathers, right? Seeds are sown at 3 years of age. Home, values, sanskar, it is the same. It starts at 3. Thereafter, the development takes place. Soon as you Google what are good character traits, there'll be 40 items. Now, think about the timeline which I spoke of 0 to 5, 5 to 10. How much that mind is capable of taking. Are you going to teach him camaraderie at 15 years age? He has got no idea what you're talking. So, are we trying to put values in him, taking his age into mind? And if that be so, what is his mind going to accept? What can it be trained for that will withstand the entire life? So, when we talk about that, you will come down to only 4 seeds of character. One is called truthfulness, one is called honesty, one is called humility, one is called moral. These 4 things you can teach a child right from 3 till 20 years of age, and you will never get tired. 4 बच्चे खड़े हो जाते हैं लाइन में, ये ग्लास किसने तोड़ा? All keep quiet. None speak. Someone will end up giving a slap to each one of them. Someone will say, बड़े शैतान बच्चे हैं. But that one child who says, मम्मी ये ग्लास मैंने तोड़ा, मम्मी ये ग्लास राकेश ने तोड़ा, मम्मी ये ग्लास नीलम ने तोड़ा. So when he accepts his mistake, ये मेरा राजा बेटा है. But soon as he takes 2 other names, he's a villain. Have you ever patted him to say, this guy has got the moral courage to say such things? He has taken his own name, fearing that he will get bashed up. Why don't we look at towards moral courage? Truthfulness. Why do we encourage a child lying? He knows कि आज मेरे को पढ़ने वाली है कि शाम को अगर मैंने घर में जाके ये बता दिया, he goes and lies. We encourage, right? But how many times has it happened that they walk in and tell you कि ये हो गया dad? Honesty. Why can't you teach him honesty at home? Humility. If you are truthful, you are honest, and you have got moral courage, the most difficult thing is to teach humility. Arrogance comes out when the character, commitment, and capability is on top. When your character is perfect, your commitment is perfect, your capability is perfect. The only thing that the result of this will be arrogance. So you know this is going to happen later. Teach him humility today. You don't need to teach anything else to children. Nothing else. Don't teach them anything else of character. These are the seeds that grow mandatory, right? From 3 years, not happened. 5 years, not happened. 10 years, not happened. 15 years, not happened. 20 years, not happened. Doesn't make a difference. You can always start at 20. You can always start at 21, 22, 23. You can start at 30. There is no age. But earliest, put it at 3 years. Do we do it? Now start thinking of how exactly do we handle children or subordinates. If you are 30, you have got subordinates. If you're 35, you have got subordinates. How do you do it? Up to 30 years, it is very easy to mold yourself. Very easy to mold yourself. There's a plateau after 30, 30 to 50 years of age. It's very difficult, but it is not impossible. After 50 years of age, you are absolutely rigid. And percentage wise, maybe 1 in 1,000 person will be ready to change. But up to 50 years, a determined person, despite having spent his life entirely in a other side, he has been lying, he has been dishonest, he has not been humble, and he has got no moral courage. He can still develop. So why can't these be the mandatory things on which your training starts, whether in military, whether in corporate, whether in management schools, whether in MBBS, IIMs, IITs, anywhere? Why isn't there a scientific curriculum to see that now these people are like this? You put them under test, put them under test throughout, try to see that you mold them to have these four things. And then thereafter you see, okay, now when you go from here to the units or you go from here to the industry, you know that you have sent a person who is truthful, honest, humility, and moral courage. If not anything else, good enough to assume that you did your bit. At least you did not start with that assumption that these people came to me with high character. They were all truthful, they were all honest, they were all humble, and they were all had moral courage. The only four things that will take you right till you're 70 and 80 and 90 years of age are these four things. That's why I call them foundation pillars of your character. Right? Now, what happens after the four C's? The empty space in that square peg is now filled with personality. So now this mixes with personality. So now you are chiseling your own personality. You're in army, you have to have camaraderie. You are in army, you will die for your colleague. You have to be brave. You will stand for your men, and anything army requires, army teaches, and then you make that as your personality. Now think about the timeline. So at 20 years, 17 years, you join. Character has been made strong. Now you're also being told that this is how your personality is going to make, and this is what military requires, and this is what industry requires, and this is what your career requires. So start doing this. If you're going to become a doctor, why should service be your main this thing? If you are being in military, why should nation be first? And all the things. So this is how you're making personality. right? Now, personality, if it is internal to you, I call it integrity. Personality, the external part is your credibility. I don't have to prove my integrity to anyone. I can never convince you that my integrity is so high. Integrity is internal. I must answer myself. Credibility is what is external. This is what my external communication with the world is. This is what how the world sees me, and this is how now they imagine me as. So now your character. Now you talk about that square peg, personality. What started at home or may not have started at home, what started as values or may not have started values. There is a point where it got questioned before you stepped into life for you to realize that these are the four foundational figures of character. From here, I am going to build my personality. Four C's remain with a person throughout his life, and they are true regardless of the career chosen. When you talk about the seed, which was the character, and you talk about personality, which I said is integrity and this thing, there's a gap in between. What is this gap? This gap exactly is what I say are four C's. And I just show you a paper which I made, right? I hope you're able to read it, right?
Yeah.
So this is the character. These are the four pillars, right? On which everything rests. From here, character, you are going to commitment. Now you'll see commitment, connect commitment to honesty, connect commitment to truthfulness, connect commitment to humility, connect commitment to moral courage, right? So whenever you are talking about your commitment may be to studies towards your training. Can you be committed and be dishonest? Can you be committed and not have moral courage? Can you be committed and not be truthful? So question. So you passed all of it. So this means after the character, you have to develop commitment that whatever I am doing, I'll do it from my heart. So unless you are committed to do something, can you build capability? So I don't like medical, but because my mom and dad wanted, that's why I went to do MBBS. Is there any point in this? Absolutely no point. So you are committed. Thereafter, you build capability. Whether you are building capability at 17, 18 years, 20, 25 years, 25, 30 years, 30, 35 years, it's a non-stop process that goes on. What's the point of having character, commitment, and capability if you don't want to contribute? So this means your willingness to contribute honestly, truthfully, with full moral courage and humility. This means despite being highly capable, you are extremely humble, right? So when you come to contribution part, so this means your character, that triangle which went into the square, that is very strong. That's a character. You built some part by commitment. You filled in that square by capability. You filled in that square again by contribution. Now you know where your career is taking you. So that career specific requirement of character, traits, requirements, you fill in the rest. So what you have, whether you are square in shape, whether you are round in shape, whether you are triangle in shape, whether you are rectangle in shape, whatever may be, there is something smaller which went inside. A circle, a triangle will go inside that. A triangle, a circle will go inside that. So whatever you are, wherever you came from, whether it was from rural area or from South Bombay or South Delhi, or whether you are a son of a general or you are a son of a farmer, at the end of the day, it is the central small thing strong that matter. Your commitment, capability, contribution matter. And thereafter, you filled it up with whatever capabilities you have. Now tell me, will people not talk about you? Do you have to go and announce to the people, I am like that? You are capable, everyone knows. You are committed, everyone knows. You contribute a lot, everyone knows. You are truthful, everyone knows. You are humble, everyone knows. You are honest, everyone knows. You have got moral courage, everyone knows. What is left? People will start looking up to you. Who made you into all this? You were not made externally. This whole journey is your own journey. And then you say, will people accept me as leader? Why do you even have to get accepted as a leader? You be what you are. People will walk up and accept you. So many times it happens in organizations. So many times it happens in organizations. You got absolutely no connection. But a guy from third department, fourth department just walks up to you with a paper. कि सर 2 मिनट है क्या आपके पास? I wanted to discuss this with you. Doesn't it happen? There is something that is happening which you don't know. Your aroma, your fragrance is spreading. Your question, is there a container in which we fit in? Or you grow? No, you grow. Container will take you. Container will take you. You have to grow.
I think beautifully shared. Also, the character bit is, this aspect. We have a saying in Kannada that whatever you learn at 3 years is what stays for the rest hundreds of years. That's like a thing, idiom here, and that's something so beautiful. And you know, whatever we are looking at as leaders, it's almost as everybody can be is having leadership seed or potential in them. It takes the same four C's and the pillars to get to that point. That leadership is becoming something that is just lived. It is not something to be done externally. It is as simple as the uh, manifestation of some of these values. And once it becomes a part of who you are and you're able to commit to that character, and then you can build capacity on it, and then once you get to that, you can always, it's not only about me, the code that you also mentioned, it's about nation, then men, then me. When I know I am sorted, I can always contribute to the larger equation quite easily.
Yeah, Shirish, anything?
So I get it. I understand it, sir. But there are a couple of questions that come in my mind is and that come out of my experience of running an industry. So what the most difficult part I found was as a leader or as a head of an organization trying to manage people and come up there is that inculcating that sense of ownership in them. So how does a leader cultivate that? How do you cultivate that sense of ownership in a person? And like you rightly said, that when they are coming to you to the academy or to the IITs or to the training portions of it. So I see this every organization grappling with this, that they have professionals who are high performers, but then there is no ownership there. How do you inspire that ownership? How do you inculcate that ownership? Is something
I'll take up this question towards the end.
right, right,
And
sir.
I have a specific answer. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I will take that. Right? Can I proceed?
Yes, sir, please. Please
Okay.
go ahead.
See, after completing successfully the 4 C's, what actually comes out is your personality and your image.
Hmm.
Right? Now, this image, like I say, I crafted my own image. I want people to trust me. So I did certain things. I found out why should they trust me. Likewise. So when you talk about the image and personality and the four C's, I told you there's a gap in between, and this gap is filled by integrity and credibility. Integrity is internal, credibility is external. Now, remember, once you have come to this point now, till now it was everything was internal, now you are exposed, right? So who is watching you? You are being watched at your workplace, your college, school, society, friends, family, relatives, career, temporary exposures, children, parents, peers, anyone for that matter. Everyone is watching you, right? Everyone is forming an opinion about you, which, in other words, is they are actually creating an image of you in their mind. सच बोलता है ये, is a bloody liar, चोर है, he is a very honest man. He cannot do this. Bullshit, I will not believe you. When these conversation takes place, you don't know that you are being referred to there. But why are they taking place? Because the world is watching you, right? And you presented yourself to the world after you chiseled yourself, and your continuous chiseling is going on. You haven't stopped chiseling yourself. It's going on. You're moving from one place to another. You're interacting with people, and your image is getting built, right? Now you will say, I never said that developing the four C's is only a positive thing. I don't know how a person has developed. So either that guy will follow the principles of being truthful, truly, or he will not do it. Either he'll be honest or dishonest, despite having been taught. He might have moral courage, he might not have moral courage. He might be humble, he might not be humble. You will never come to know. But you did your job of at least addressing this problem when he came into your hands. So if he came at 17 years, you did that. 20 years, you did that. 21, you did that. Thereafter, he formed a personality, and then you permitted him to form a personality and go and be watched by the world, by all the people who I just named. So if that guy has been true learner and has actually followed everything that the four C's and the personality, integrity, credibility has been built properly, he has taken the path of becoming a leader. If not, he has taken path of being a manipulator. It's a watershed. It's a watershed, right? So he's taken a path of being a manipulator. A manipulator will have multiple personalities depending on which group he's interacting with. He handles the same issues differently depending upon where it is happening and with whom it is happening. In the college, he will go and give a lecture to a person who has come. He kindly give admission to my son, though he is 5% short of this, and you will give him a lecture. You will come back and bring up another college principal to give admission to your child because he's falling 5% short of percentage. You see, so he's a manipulator. So he handles the same thing differently. For him, home is different. Children are different. There it is different. If my son does it, pardon. If others do it, behead him. So you have become a manipulator. You remain like this. So I go to my boss and I say, sir, I've got a problem. I want my posting to at so and so place. No, it cannot be done. Army rules don't permit. Three other people from his regiment come, sir, I want to go here, here. Okay, go. And you want to sign a veterans declaration after that. Will anyone sign? No one will sign. Because you have not been fair. There is somewhere you have compromised. Somewhere you have become a manipulator. So whether he is military, whether he is political. So political. Can a political man ever be a leader? I doubt. Because politics is based on lies and manipulation. So if you are doing that 24/7, I actually think there are no leaders there in any career for that matter. So what happens is in the long run, a manipulator will always fall behind. And falling behind does not mean that he will not get his rank or money or power. He will get all the money, he'll get all the ranks, he'll get all the power. He will never be a leader, he will still be a manipulator. You still will not have the moral courage to come in front of people, look into their eyes, and say that, yes, I am truthful, I am fair, I am honest, I am humble, I am this. No, you'll never have that. Right? This is where we talk about values and sanskar. What we say sanskar. So, अगर संस्कारी है, so हमको हंसना है उसके ऊपर. We have to laugh. क्योंकि संस्कारी है. What are values? Values is nothing else but sanskar. So, अगर इंग्लिश में बोला तो values है. So we'll take it seriously. But हमने संस्कार बोला तो हम हंसेंगे. This is the hypocrisy, right? So where does a child? So I'm just finally going to the C's, just summing it up. When you talk about a child, how does he learn to lie, to be corrupt, operate behind back, being upright, being truthful, to discriminate or not to be honest or to be dishonest, to backstab or to support, to be tolerant, to be intolerant, to like a religion, not like a religion, be caste based, be fair, have respect for females, not have a respect for females, and a million other things. Where the hell a child has learned all this? We taught him. You could have taught him correct things. Did we? We did not. This is where exactly the hypocrisy lies. That when we talk about the character, commitment, capability, contribution, so in first step itself we have failed. So when you failed in the first step itself of character, not being truthful, not having moral courage, not having humility, not being honest, what commitment is he going to give? His commitment is going to be flawed. His capability is going to be misused. His contribution is going to be lopsided. And then he builds his personality and image. So what is happening? You see, everything goes back there. So when we talk about seed of leadership, and this is just a time pass type of next 5 minutes. So we say military leader, he should have integrity, courage, accountability, he should inspire, he should be brave, this, that. So type out Google कि military leader के पास क्या होना चाहिए, 20 characters. Political leader, integrity, honesty, courage, sense of responsibility, empathy, trustworthy, fair, to inspire, this, that. Fine. Industry leader, integrity, honesty, ethical, vision, communication skill, resilience, adaptability, emotional intelligence. Fine. I'm very happy with all this, right? Now I'll go a step back. Character traits: integrity, credibility, trustworthy, honest, truthful, moral, human. What I have done is, मिलिट्री लीडर में एट 20 years क्या क्या चीज नहीं होने से भी चलेगा करके मैं काटना शुरू कर. From character traits, I started scoring out anything at 20 years. If it doesn't have, it's fine. He can always develop it later. You know what remains? Only 4 things remain: humility, honesty, truthfulness, moral courage.
4 pillars.
Simple as that. The only thing that remains is these 4. Rest everything can be developed later. That's why these are the seeds of character. How do you go about it? Right? So formative years. So now we talk about, say, character traits, right? We talk about moral values. This is again a time pass because this is what actually the books say, internet says. This is what the curriculum says. So they say Character traits are related to morals and values. Just start counting, huh? Just start counting. I'll just keep on naming, just count on your fingers. Honest, courteous, responsible, modest, reliable, fair, empathic, just, authentic, caring, selfless, accountable, moral courage, loving, forgiving, empowering, trustworthy, uh, compassionate, grateful, courageous, loyal, humble, generous, ethical, genuine, kind, patient, transparent, integrity driven, tolerant, emotionally intelligent, proactive, curious, creative, adaptable, empowering, visionary, resourceful, solution oriented, disciplined. This is the last point. At this point, the Cambridge Dictionary committed suicide. At this point, Cambridge Dictionary committed suicide. Right? Is this the bloody nonsense we talk about? Physical well-being: active, fit, energetic, endurance, strong, flexible, balanced, healthy. And the dictionary is on the bridge now, river bridge. It's going to jump. Emotionally well-being: confident, resilient, mindful, assertive, forgiving, honest, open-minded, tolerant, curious, creative, compassionate, empathic, grateful. Now the Oxford Dictionary commits suicide. Is this how we are going to teach character to people? What nonsense. Is the youth not confused? Everyone is confused because of this. We simply can't, in this massive mess, take out those four things. What I did, I cut out anything that is not required at this stage. The only four rounders that you will see are the four C's, which you cannot compromise in. So, this is how the life journey goes, that we talk about the foundational pillars and all that. And then there is a time when you choose the career. So when you talk about the personality which is generally being built, you're trying to build your image, which is generally, and that's the time you enter a career. The career may be military, the career may be bureaucracy, the career may be anything. But now imagine a person with these strong four pillars entering that. He is committed, he is capable, he wants to contribute, and he has got fantastic character. He is going to be a successful person in life, right? We spoke about all of this quite a lot. When you talk about chiseling your own image, everything finally comes down to what was the quality of the stone. Now, all stones were of the same quality when they were born. Why is there one sandstone, one red stone, and one shaligram stone? So, I did a small research to find out what is so special about shaligram stone, of which only these idols of Ram Janmabhoomi. That's the first time I heard about it. What I realized and understood was the intrinsic quality of that stone itself makes it ideal to make an idol. So, every child, when born, boy or a girl, is that stone. You chisel it correctly, it becomes shaligram. You don't chisel it correctly, it becomes sandstone. Right? So, we don't chisel it correctly. So, you chisel it correctly. So, now this is probably one of the most important things that I'm going to tell you, and these are all my theories. Soon as the video is over, you can actually delete the entire video. क्योंकि ये theory इसने बोला and we are simply not interested, and he talks all bull crap. So ये ऐसा नहीं होगा. Fine, but I must, now that you have given me a chance, I will tell you. Right? How does the world judge you? Other days, he asked me a beautiful question. How do you read people? That no, yeah, how do you judge people? Sorry, how do you read people? I said, no, boss, you said correctly. I only judge people. I'm not interested to read people. I'm not here to make long-term alliances or friendship with people. If I have to make friends, long-term friends, I will first judge and then make you a friend. Right? So there is absolutely nothing wrong in judging. How does the world judge you? Now, this is part of how do you build your image of the personality. How does the world judge? There has to be an absolutely perfect sync between four things: your heart, your mind, your words, your deeds. Think over it. Your heart wants to say, do something. Your brain says, this guy is wrong. He tells mouth to say something else. You actually do something else. You got the point? You are being judged by people. For you to be in perfect sync 24/7, whether it is personal relations or professional relations, where regardless of where you are, your perfect sync of heart, brain, words, and deeds, it has to be there. They have to match 100%. When Shri said authentic, you don't have to do and certify that this is what I did was authentic. No, all you have to do is to always do things which are in perfect sync. If you have said in the industry that, okay, fine, at the end of this work, this is how I will reward you. And when it actually comes to rewarding, you say कि नहीं यार ये थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो जाएगा, थोड़ा कम दे देना. The sync is not there. So when you tell someone कि अच्छा ठीक है, तू छुट्टी जाएगा, उतने तारीख को छुट्टी जाएगा, he comes on later and tells you, and you know he is lying. नहीं सर, आपने बोला था 5 तारीख को जाएगा, you know कि मैंने नहीं बोला 5 तारीख, मैंने बोला था कि हाँ तू जाएगा और उस समय मैं देखूंगा कि कब है, पर भेजूंगा पक्का. So you didn't commit a date. He comes to you and says, आपने बोला था 5 तारीख को ये छुट्टी जाएगा कि मैं जा सकता हूँ. So do you want to fight with him? So here's the heart. That time said yes, send him. Mind said send him. Your word said I will send you. Deed, send him. Are you now going to not do your deed incorrectly because that guy is lying? At the end of the day, it is you, your image. Okay, ठीक है जाओ. ठीक है, take this my salary, 1,700 rupees. How many years did I wait? I waited 17 years. The day he was going on retirement, that day I asked him, I said, तू ही था ना वो? He said, yes. I told you the story last time. So, heart, mind, word, deed. So, you might suffer, which is fine. But then it is your image, your personality which is being built. So, there are 10 other people. They know, यार साहब ने बोला था कि ये छुट्टी जाएगा और भेज दिया इसको आज. But then that pain is there in your heart that this guy lied to me. But then it is he who lied to you. So it is his forces. Are you competing with his forces? You are competing with your own forces, which says heart, mind, word, deed should be together in sync. If my personality, my image has to be. That's how you go, right? Dilution means reduced integrity and credibility. Hence, a flawed personality, hence, you will be tainted. So, you can't dilute. A leader has an image, personality, a 3D personality, and a 6D vision. So, this is the last part that I am coming to. If you do not have a 3D personality and a 6D vision, you are just an ordinary guy with a good character, very reliable, very dependable, everything, but you are not a leader. So this means there is much more to becoming a leader than just this. So at this point, I have come to the end of the leadership thing that we were talking about. Only one thing remains, which I'll do after we have a question answer session. Whatever you want to ask, whatever I want you to feel free, and regardless of anything, any topic under the sun, let's speak. And then I have the last part, a small 5-minute part.
Interesting. So I had something, maybe Shirish, because you're on mute, I'll go ahead and anyways ask. So I am curious bit about the whole aspect of being vulnerable in all of these, right? So character also is taking its own journey. It's not today that suddenly it's a work product of one day. It takes its own journey. Capacity building takes its own journey. Commitment also takes its own journey, right? How as a individual leader can we tell to the world that what, I'm still a work in transition, because I also don't know where I'm going. I feel that this is the right path that is going. So where does vulnerability fit into all of this? Because we are in a heavily competitive world where even though that this fake it till you make it is a culture there, even though I'm not there yet, I'm trying to project I'm there yet. And internally that I know that I'm not there yet. And for me as a leader, it becomes a big question mark saying, where am I going with this?
Four C's. It's a work in progress till you die.
Hmm.
It's a work in progress. Even today, I'm learning. When I interact with you, there are so many things I learn, which I keep on thinking. Yeah, this is what he said. This is what he said. This is how they are taking it. This is how their questions are. It's a work in progress. My way is only one. Every day, unfailingly from last 40 years, before I sleep, I have a rewind of my entire day. What did I do today? With whom did I interact? What was the interaction about? Whether my interaction was correct, whether I reacted correctly, whether I reacted incorrectly, I was unfair, this, that. How can I put it right? How can I do the things correctly? Next day morning, try to put everything right. 40 years I have done this. Even today, I do it, whether it is my personal relation, whether it is my professional relation, whether it is my relatives. If there are places where I think that I am being extremely harsh with someone, but then I'm justifying myself being harsh, I'm quite okay. I don't have to be a good man 24/7. I am not. I don't have to be. The thing is that you have to justify to yourself that what you're doing is correct or not. And it is this one brick which is going to build a mansion. So when you say work in progress, so my bricks are still being laid. I'm 65 years old. I don't say that I'm a leader. No, I have never claimed also. I simply say that this is my life, this is how I followed, this is what I do. If someone gets inspired, fine. If you don't get inspired, perfect. Right? So what believe in yourself, do things correctly. You are bound to make mistakes. Think about it in the evening. Try to see, justify yourself. You have justified yourself, fine. If not, try to correct it next day. Right?
Absolutely,
And
Shalini.
like it's a work in progress. Uh, Shrish asked me one question about ownership. That how do I build that ownership? My simple question is, what is your definition of ownership? What is your definition of ownership when you are expecting people who are working for you to work and they should have ownership? What is your definition of their ownership?
I can't say what others have definition of ownership as, sir.
I'm asking yours.
But yeah, so my definition of ownership is very clear. If I'm working for an organization, I am dedicated to that organization. I take ownership of what is happening, right or wrong. I go beyond my role to see if there's something going right, which I can put right, or something is not going right. Then step into that. So that my definition of ownership is that I am 100% responsible for the organization I'm working for. I'm 100% responsible for my family. I'm 100% responsible now for this podcast. That's my ownership. What is happening in this podcast, that is the ownership. If it's going right, not going right. If it's gone wrong, then I am the owner of that fault also, something which has not gone right. That's ownership for me.
Okay, perfectly okay. So now you got, say, for I'm assuming, I don't know, I don't want to know. You got 50 employees, right? Now they don't think this way, and you
Hmm.
want to create that feeling into them. So unless you get into their souls to find out what will make them feel like an owner, till that time, you will never be able to convert them into owner, right?
Mhm.
And beyond this, on this video, we will not discuss this point, but we will definitely discuss after the video when we have time. We'll talk on a video call. I don't mind even Sunil being there, where I will talk blunt, where probably the things will be seen differently. So we'll do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are a couple of more questions. Sunil, I'll just take these couple of questions because these are some practical parts of leading people, and you've led people for 25 years. So when a person handles a team of even 50 or 500 or 20 or even 10, there are bound to be conflicts within the team. How do you approach those conflicts as a leader? How do
Don't
you
get into
resolve
them.
them?
Firstly, don't get into them.
Mm-hmm.
Conflicts will take place wherever people are working. Conflicts will take place. Conflicts will come to you. When the conflicts come to you, you cannot become a judge of a court where they have come and where you give a decision. You have to lead a team where everyone wins, right? So you should have the moral courage to tell a person who is your favorite that you are boss wrong. You must have that moral courage to praise that guy who you hate because of his guts, but you are not sacking him because the guy is doing wonderfully well when it comes to your work, but you dislike him. So, moral courage is not only about owning up, moral courage is actually praising a guy who you dislike, or giving a stick to a person you like. This is how they will see this man is fair.
Mm.
Conflicts will happen. The more you are with the men, the lesser conflicts will be there. The lesser you are with them, the more conflicts will be.
So
Very
the
interesting.
conflicts between the team members, not
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Precisely. The more time you spend with team, there will be lesser conflicts. The lesser
Hmm.
time you spend with them, there will be more conflicts.
And another thing, sir, which Sunil, sorry, I'm taking up a couple of questions, so I hope that's okay with you. Yeah. So पांच उंगलियां बराबर नहीं हैं, पर पांचों का अपना फंक्शन है.
Exactly.
There are underperformers also in the team. And how do you handle those underperformers without damaging their morale?
See, first thing, you are not an employee, you are the owner. Your mindset is totally different.
Hmm.
They are employees, their mindset is completely different,
Hmm.
right? So, you cannot, what you call, impose your understanding on them that this is how they will see. When you talk about ownership, your definition of ownership is not their definition of ownership at all. Your way of rewarding a good person or trying to punish a non-performer is going to be seen very differently when it comes to them. So you have to find out how exactly do you take care of all of them despite the conflicts taking place. What do you do for conflict reduction, not resolution? Don't take the resolution path, take the reduction path. Soon as you get into why the conflicts take place, so you will be able to reduce the conflicts. That is the conflict part. Talking about performer oblique non-performer. As soon as you do a secretive thing of rewarding a performer, you have slashed your own nerve. Blade मार दिया आपने. The day he is angry with you, he'll go and tell them, साहब ने तो मेरे को ये किया. He gave me so much. He'll push you under the bus. So when you do it, it has to be open. Absolutely open. No, not one skeleton has to be there in your cupboard. And very slowly you can implement it. No issue at all. Yeah, Sunil, you are saying something.
No, I think I was very intrigued by this answer saying the more you spend time, lesser is the conflict.
Yeah,
The less you spend time, more is the conflict. So I think I found that to be a very different answer. I've not had anybody tell that answer, and now it feels so correct to have that answer. That
Hmm.
you are invested even in terms of ownership, leading people and all that. It's not an energy or a role difference thing. You are with the people who you are going with, and you're one among them. It's not a I am here, somebody else is lower, higher kind of a thing. And that means you spend more time. You are with them. You don't see yourself different from them. Rather, you see them alongside with you in the whole journey. And that mindset itself is an entire shift. And I was really, really happy with that answer, saying that makes so much sense.
absolutely. Yes, it does.
Absolutely. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and that's a practical thing that you do when you are there with your men. That really makes a difference. Couple of more questions for you, sir, if you're okay to take it, if we have
Absolutely.
time.
Any,
Yeah.
any.
So these are the topics which come up during the coaching sessions or during our journey as leaders also. So I'm taking these inputs from you, sir. How do you, as a leader, ensure that your message is not just heard, but it's understood?
Like I always said just now, the answer. When you give the
Hmm.
message, what exactly is your communication? And remember one thing, your communication has to be one to one. So if there are 200 people, the communication has to be one to one, one to two, one to three, one to four, and one to 200. So you have to find ways how not to repeat the message 200 times, but it goes to everyone to be understood exactly the way you wanted it to be conveyed. Avoid
Hmm.
hierarchy. Avoid hierarchy. There is that famous corporate game, which say there is a small message which is given to you, then you are asked to repeat the same message to Sunil. He is asked to repeat the same message, and by the time it comes back, so it is kill the horse.
Yes, the message has changed.
So remember hierarchy. Hierarchy means communication is lost in the air. So you have
Hmm.
to find out communication ways, modes, where your communication is received exactly the way it was supposed to be by the recipient. So decide who the recipient is. So find out ways how you will do it. So you take email bhej do. Arre, there are people who don't have access, who don't have smartphones. So how do you do it? So if it's a factory, you're going on the floor. So stop 5 people, gap marte hue, communicate, gap marte communicate. Remember one thing, they have a mouth. They will go and re-communicate. It hardly takes any time for correct message to go down. So it is how you do it. I have done it 500 people, I have done it with 900 people, and the message goes perfectly okay, despite military having such hard, uh, what you call, hierarchical system. And that reminds me, uh, after we finish today, I will request you stop the recording. I'll give you a 5 minute joke of this communication, what Sri said, and probably that you will put you to laughter, and then we can call off. So communication is directly, whether it is Anand Mahindra or anyone for that matter. Remember one thing: every time you add a layer of hierarchy, your communication goes bad.
So here I'd like to add my own real experience when I started working. I didn't know all this, Gyan. So when I went to the factory and there was this particular culture of those five union leaders, and they had the access to the person who was looking after the factory earlier, and they would anybody who had to talk first would bring those five people, and then बात करेंगे 10 आदमी 20 आदमी 30 आदमी इकट्ठे लेके आएंगे बात करेंगे. And what I did was I opened my doors to everybody, even a unskilled laborer, a contract laborer, temporary laborer, कि जिसको कोई issue है मेरे पास सीधा आके मुझसे बात करो. The only condition is you have to come on your own. If you bring these five union leaders with you, I will not listen to you. So I was told by the factory people, factory officers who was looking after the departments, 20 साल से 25 साल से कि then they used to call me भैया जी आप ठीक नहीं कर रहे. I'm like, I don't know. This is what I do. And believe me, sir, it went off so beautifully. Those five people were sidelined, and everybody would find it easy. On the shop floor, if I would go, भैया जी ये issue है, अच्छा ठीक है, वो उधर आओ. But I was always fair, like you said, always fair. And it established such a bond कि वो खत्म ही हो गया सारा concept of mob mentality and everything. Anybody could just walk in, talk to me. And if it was fair, I would do it. If it's not fair, I would tell him, no, I can't do it. This cannot be done. This is not fair.
Absolutely. Cut out the hierarchy, direct communication, and you are with the people. That's why the more you meet, the less the conflicts.
And now, sir, my last question to you. How do you respond when a team member challenges your decision? What is the correct way to respond?
Respect. Make everyone sit. Give out the conditions. What is your view? What is his view? Discuss in open. And discuss in open, keeping the organizational benefits in mind, nothing else. And not about the egos that because you're senior and owner, you are right, and because he's wrong. No. Sometimes the best of the suggestions or critique comes from the lowest level. Always respect. And that's how you will always keep on getting such critiques in future also. You try and muzzle one, you will never get any more. So you have to have that depth in you. You have to have that depth in you where a person, whether intentionally or unintentionally, even mocks at you, laughs at you, or makes a joke of you. So you just go with the flow of it. It's fine. There are times when one of my employee in front of everyone tells me, "आपको तो कुछ समझ में नहीं आता." I said एकदम करेक्ट बोला हुआ है. I said एकदम करेक्ट बोला है. तुमने जो चीज बोला है अभी, वो चीज मेरे को एक्चुअली समझ में नहीं आता है. Which actually is a fact. I don't understand. So I said, बता दो मैं सीखूंगा. So this is what इतना बड़ा problem है. Someone who wanted to poke you with a problem, hurt you with a problem, you just made it. Yeah, accept it. Why not? But look at the overall interest of the organization. So far as it is benefiting, why not? Tremendous amount of patience, depth, maturity to accept criticism. And a person who can accept criticism on face is actually in true sense, a person who is on the path to become a good leader, to be accepted, made leader by others. You don't have to become this.
I think maybe I have one question, and some of the other questions she is already asked. So, if you were to give two or three examples of leaders who you have seen and you admire, uh, who would that be, and what would be their story?
I would skip this question now because it's going to be long. I have not looked at it. I want to actually pick out at least one from industry, pick out at least one from politics, one from military, which definitely maybe if we get future any chance. First question I'll answer is this. I have never thought that way, keeping this in mind. Uh, and the fact that very few people actually have got this sort of admiration from me, it simply means that I require to work on it. So as of now, I'm not prepared to take this question.
All right, so I go happy with this, saying that I've stumped you with a question that you not
Absolutely,
yet answered.
no, absolutely. It was actually a bouncer and a Yorker combined.
So, so
So
it was indeed that powerful questions that a coach asks.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
client goes into silence.
Absolutely. And in fact, I have no hesitation in admitting that, yeah, you stumped me. No, I have never thought about it. Yeah, so not prepared.
So he's lived the talk, Sunil. He admits it, takes it on his face, and says, "I'll come back to you."
So
And
this is like
that's what makes him a true leader. That's an example of that.
this is like that Vivian Richards or somebody, who got bounced out, and the rest of the brunt of the series was borne by Australia or India somewhere. So you've said, I don't know this, but I'll come back to you hard with whatever I know, and I'll, make sure that this question never comes back to me again. Oh, wow, crazy.
Right, sir. So
So,
over to you for the last 5 minutes now, sir.
so last 5 minutes. Whatever on the leadership I had to say, I have practically shared everything, right? I don't know how much benefit it is going to be to the people. You people are the best people in the field to see, whether it is corporate, whether it is wherever you go. If it is going to be beneficial, I'll be very happy. That is one. Secondly, there are a huge number of other things on which I have worked, followed my life quite a lot. And this is just to tell you, give you an idea that probably you have not finished mining my head as much, right? There is something I have worked a lot on what exactly is a 3D personality and 6D vision. So when we talk about a 3D, three-dimensional personality and a six-dimensional vision, what exactly does it mean? When you talk about a six-dimensional vision, it means you are actually talking about 12 different opinions that you must consider before you go. So I've worked a lot on this. And there is something I was working on. What is a quantum personality? What would be a quantum personality? So this goes actually as part of the quantum personality. Now, thinking as a weapon that you use in life for tactical, operational, and strategic things. So, how exactly do you think? How do you utilize thinking as a weapon that actually you use in your professional, personal life? There's huge amount of things that I have been doing in my life, which anyone who is around me, we have our talks for hours and hours together. So when we discuss all these things with youth and all these, there's a very different theory called timeline theory. This timeline theory sorts out your problems to the level you can't imagine. And it is, you saw one example where I put a child on a timeline theory of leadership today, where it was so easy for you to understand that by the time that boy has actually stepped out of the house, he is already formed. There's something about simultaneity and sequentiality of the actions of life, of work, that are so much important unless we know what exactly simultaneity is, how to practice it, what sequentiality is, when and how to practice it, how does it help you becoming a quantum personality. What is macro and micro? How do you think macro and micro at the same time of an issue? How do you go at the micro level and know everything, immediately transport yourself to macro level, think everything, and now apply the 6D vision, and you get 12 opinions at macro and micro level. So all these things are now interconnected, right? What is the spectrum of your image? When you talk about this is what my image should be, what is your spectrum? What is it that you want at the left end of the spectrum and right edge of the spectrum? Then huge number of things on morality, ethics, corruption. Corruption is always taken in terms of money. I talk about corruption in terms of ethics, money, morals, character, material, men, commitment, capability, honesty, humility. Anything that you don't do correctly is corruption. So, why should a person who knows a particular thing very well refuses to do that when you ask him to do that, and his intention being to harm you? This means he's committed corruption of capability. Despite knowing something, he doesn't do it. And then the last point is those two PowerPoint presentations which I had shared with you, where each slide, if you say, each slide, if you take and read, there's so much to discuss on those slides. And in that, you'll find one line coming very often. There is a Manekshaw in you, take him out. This is a line I use very often. Every man has got a Manekshaw in him. When I say Manekshaw, it doesn't mean a military journal. It means a leader, a true leader. When you say, probably only two people have inspired me in my life. Now that Sunil has given me time to think, so I know now how to adjust my pads and again try to. One is Manekshaw and one is a general called Sundarji. I'll talk about them later. Absolutely brilliant, these two guys. So I always say there is a Manekshaw in you, take him out. So taking out Manekshaw means what? You develop your four C's, you develop your image, you develop your personality. Thereafter, you develop yourself as a leader, you develop yourself as what I just said, converting yourself into a 3D personality. With a 6D vision, you think, you timeline, you work simultaneously, you work sequentially. Think about macro, micro, spectrum. When you put all of these things together in a package called Shrish, called Sunil, called Sanjay Pande, and you craft and chisel this image, a leader comes out without your announcing to the world. And that's where I finally call off my contribution for this session.
Thank you
I
so much.
think we missed one question in between. Sunil and Seth pointed out 3D, 6D vision and 3D personality thoughts. So, would it be okay to share a little bit on that, sir, or we'd keep it for next time?
This is going to be actually a very, very a different topic, nothing to do with leadership. But when you talk about a 3D personality, try to imagine a personality as if you're seeing a cube in 1D, 2D, and 3D. Imagine a cube. Now put your personality in that place, right? There are certain people to whom you want to be seen as 1D square. Someone you want to show yourself as 2D. Probably you want to show from top, length and breadth. There are certain people you want them to see you as a 3D personality, as a full cube. How exactly do you translate that into your image building and personality so that people say, yeah, this guy is a 3D personality? A leader essentially always will be a 3D personality. He cannot be a 2D personality. And you cannot be a 3D personality till the time you have a 6D vision. 6D vision is left, right, front, back, top, and bottom. Now you are watching it. Remember, these directions are watching you. So you're talking about 12 opinions. So when you think 12 different things simultaneously about an issue, you always will have a correct answer. And when you have a correct answer, which is now backed by you're being truthful, you're being humble, you're being honest, and you're having moral courage, you will always be successful. But soon as one of those C's is flawed, even if you come to a correct decision here, it'll go wrong somewhere. This is how they are all connected. So when I talk about a 3D personality, if you're not capable of thinking simultaneously about 15 problems, I always give an example of a goods train. 70 bogies. It goes on a track. It goes sequentially. First engine, second bogie, third bogie, fourth bogie, 70th bogie. How many of you have ever thought of trying to run the train sideways? Run the train sideways, 70 bogies simultaneously, none of them should fall back behind. So pick each and take them together, make all 70 of them win and reach the end line. That is simultaneity. But then does it mean that you will always be simultaneous? No. There are times you have to be sequential. So how do you know when to be simultaneous, when to be sequential? Right? That's where the thinking comes in. That how do you use your thinking as a tactical, operational, and strategic weapon? So all these things are so much intertwined with each other. So when we talk about four C's and when we talk about becoming a leader and creating an image and personality. So, image, personality, you are made as per the organization, but it's still you are an ordinary man. You still are an ordinary man who's got very strong four C's. You have got a good personality, but you're still not a leader. It is these things which will finally make you lead. Yes, sir, I've finished.
Yeah, you still end with that high note in terms of so many things that you said. You know, the goods train. I think I'm still thinking of all those parallels, 70 lines saying how can 70 lines be done in the same space. So it brings out the dimensionality bit of it. So beautifully shared. I think I cannot pinpoint and say, okay, this is the one thing that I loved about this podcast and I loved about this. So there's so many things in terms of, more you spend time, the less is the conflict, character becoming the main trait. You don't fit in or you don't jump in, you grow through that personality. I think for me, this has been absolutely enriching in terms of all the wisdom that we are able to download from you, right? So you said we've not completed the data mining from you. I think that's the truth to this episode. And oh, it's been fun. I can't say I've spent 2.5 hours. It's been going like this. It is gone. It's been great
No,
learning.
on the contrary, I am so happy. I'm so happy. Last 4 5 years, I actually want to end this particular podcast specifically taking name of a guy called Shubhankar who was working with me for 4 years, with whom I would day in day out be discussing all these aspects of leadership, and there was massive number of notes we have made. The PowerPoint presentation notes, and there are bits and papers, they were all lying around. So it's only after the last episode where you people said, can we have this? And I committed without even seeing. And that is the day the search started. My Almiras came out, and all my notes of last 4 5 years, whatever came to my mind, I would just jot it down. And there are so many of them. So I was able to make all these notes, which now you'll see this is the page one, and this is the second, and this is third, and this is the fourth and fifth, and this is the Veterans Declaration, 3 pages, 7, 8, 9. There is no limit of the notes that I have made, and it's all thanks to both of you, uh, and knowing what all types of questions that you can ask, that I kept on preparing non-stop last 6 days, and rarely has someone put me to so much work that you have. And God save you, I will extract my pound of flesh one day.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Most welcome to that, sir. So, Sunil, would you just thank sir now and we close this
Yes,
episode?
absolutely. I think my closing sentence would be in terms of the wisdom that this episode offers. And when it does air, I think it has so much of relevance to what we are doing as individuals, as leaders, as whoever we represent ourselves as. And there's wisdom in re-listening to it again. That's the only thing I'll tell, and close this episode. Thank you so much, sir. Again, we will do more data mining, and sometime possible you can data mine from us as well. Sometime it'll be fun.
That is, if we have something to offer.
Absolutely.
No, no, no. It's a mutual learning, as I've always said, that I have still not stopped learning. So I picked up a guitar 15 days back. I said, no, come what may, I have to learn, only to find out that the hand which is supposed to be holding the guitar, I can't because of my elbow fracture. So then I said, okay, I'll use my right hand for that. Then realized that the strings are supposed to be in a particular order. Then I opened all the strings and put them in the order for a right hander, and that guitar is lying there. So the learning never stops. So every day, something or the other, you learn. And I am so happy that you gave me this chance to be coming here. It's been, I think, 2 hours and 40 minutes we are talking, and yeah, so far as this actually goes to benefit someone, I'll be so humbled. I'll be so happy.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir, and Jai Hind, sir.
Right.
Jai Hind.
And Jai Hind. Bye.